In this video, we'll look at the history of each public hospital in Jamaica and their types. Welcome to Jamaica Citizens Guide. Public hospitals are classified as Type C, Type B, or Type A. Type C. Type C hospitals handle the least serious medical emergencies. While they offer many services for inpatients and outpatients, they are not equipped to handle rare and complex medical or surgical conditions such as heart surgery and intensive care. A Type C hospital must transfer more serious cases to a Type B or a Type A hospital. There are 10 Type C hospitals in Jamaica. Type B. Type B hospitals offer all the medical care available in Type C hospitals. The difference is that Type B hospitals are equipped to handle more serious medical conditions. Type B hospitals have the specialties of internal medicine, general surgery, obstetrics and gynecology, pediatric medicine, and anesthesiology. Most general surgeries are performed at Type B hospitals. However, the more complex cases are referred to Type A hospitals. There are 5 Type B hospitals in Jamaica. Type A. Type A hospitals handle the most serious medical cases on the island. They are multidisciplinary hospitals that provide services for all medical specialties. There are 3 Type A hospitals in Jamaica. Let us take a brief look at each public hospital on the island. Kingston Public Hospital, KPH, was opened in December 1776 and is the oldest on the island. In the year 2022, the hospital celebrates its 246 years of existence. Throughout its long history, KPH first exists as a whites-only institution serving only whites from the year 1776 to 1838 after slavery was abolished. KPH also gave rise to 2 other hospitals. Bellevue Hospital, which was the asylum at KPH before moving to its current location in 1850, and Bustamante Hospital for Children, which began as a pediatric ward at KPH before being transferred to its current location in 1963. From a simple beginning, Kingston Public Hospital had evolved into the largest multidisciplinary hospital in the government health service, as well as the largest trauma center in the public hospital system. It is the largest hospital of its kind in the English-speaking Caribbean. Like all other public hospitals, it falls under the Ministry of Health and is operated by the South East Regional Health Authority. Kingston Public Hospital is a Type A hospital. Cornwall Regional Hospital was opened on May 10, 1974 in Mount Salem District, Montego Bay, St. James. It is very tall, standing 10-story high with a 400-bed capacity. It was the largest single investment made by the Jamaican government since the island got its independence from Britain in 1962. Built in the county of Cornwall, the decision was made to call it Cornwall Regional Hospital. It is the only Type A hospital outside Kingston. University Hospital of the West Indies, UHWI, is a hospital that also provides training of medical, nursing, and other healthcare professionals. The hospital was formally opened on January 15, 1953, with the cutting of the ribbon done by Hugh Foote, Governor of Jamaica at the time. 5 days later, Sir Winston Churchill toured the hospital. Churchill unveiled a plaque acknowledging the contribution made by the government of the United Kingdom to the institution. At the time, the hospital was called University College Hospital of the West Indies, UCHWI. In 1967, the name of the hospital was changed to its current name, which is University Hospital of the West Indies. From a hospital with only 200 beds, the University Hospital of the West Indies is now an internationally recognized academic institution with over 570 beds. Located next to the Mona campus of University of the West Indies, the hospital provides a high standard of care and services. University Hospital of the West Indies is a Type A hospital. Bellevue Hospital is a psychiatric hospital. It provides care for mentally ill individuals. Catering to all stages of mental disorder, the hospital is divided in acute, subacute, psychomedical, mental subnormal, long-term, and rehabilitative wards. There are currently 23 wards at the hospital. The history of serious mental health services in Jamaica can be traced back to the 1840s. An asylum was established at the Kingston Public Hospital and continued there until it was relocated to Windward Road, Kingston in 1850. 11 years later, in 1861, it was named the Jamaica lunatic asylum. The hospital operated under this name for 77 years until 1938. By 1938, of course, the words lunatic and asylum triggered widespread stigmatization. Many persons who got help from the hospital were stigmatized in this society. To combat this issue, officials changed the name of the hospital to the Jamaica Mental Hospital. But just 7 years later, in 1946, the name was again changed to the Bellevue Hospital. The hospital is free to the public and is opened 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. Bustamante Hospital for Children is a children's hospital that caters to patients from birth to age 12. The hospital has over 270 beds and provides a comprehensive range of diagnostic, preventive, curative, rehabilitative, and ambulatory services in pediatric medical and surgical specialties and subspecialties. The history of Bustamante Hospital is simple but somewhat interesting. In 1962, Jamaica became independent from Britain. As the British gradually left the island, they handed over a military hospital on Arthur Wink Drive, Kingston, to the Jamaican government on November 6, 1962. The decision was then made to relocate the pediatric ward at the Kingston Public Hospital to the newly acquired location to establish a hospital for children. The hospital was given the surname of the then Prime Minister, Alexander Bustamante, and opened to the public in 1963. The hospital is the only children's hospital in Jamaica and the only specialist pediatric hospital in the English-speaking Caribbean. The vision of the hospital is to be a world-class provider of pediatric health care services. The hospital offers many services including cardiology, dermatology, pediatric surgery, dental care, radiology, and plastic surgery. Victoria Jubilee Hospital is a maternal hospital. The hospital was built in 1891 and opened to the public on May 9, 1892 with 12 beds and a small staff. At the time, the hospital was called Victoria Jubilee Lying-in Hospital, named in honor of Queen Victoria of Great Britain. The name later changed to Victoria Jubilee Hospital. Through the years, various expansion projects took place which resulted in additional beds and new administration offices. Nowadays, Victoria Jubilee Hospital is the largest maternity hospital in the English-speaking Caribbean with over 240 beds. As a maternal hospital, the patients are only pregnant women and their babies. The hospital experiences the delivery of about 8,000 babies each year. Services offered at the hospital are antenatal care, also called pregnancy care, postnatal care, gynecology, family planning, adolescent health, and medicine. Hope Institute is a hospital for patients with cancer. It provides treatment and care through radiotherapy, chemotherapy, symptom control, counseling, respite care, and so on. The facility also functions as a hospice for terminally ill patients. Hope Institute was established by the Jamaica Cancer Society in the year 1963. In 1974, the Ministry of Health took over the hospital, making it a government hospital. In March 1993, it becomes a free hospital for cancer patients. In the 1930s, there was an outbreak of tuberculosis in the eastern part of Jamaica. The island was still a colony of Great Britain, and the British government decided to set up a tuberculosis sanatorium in the Kingston 6 area. It was called the King George V Sanatorium in honor of the reigning British king at the time. The institution initially served as a facility for the isolation and management of patients diagnosed with tuberculosis. This was obviously its purpose. After tuberculosis was satisfactorily put under control, the name of the facility was changed to the National Chest Hospital. The new name of the hospital points to lung and chest diseases and conditions. No longer just for tuberculosis, the National Chest Hospital provides reliable quality health care for all types of chest conditions. Some of the services offered at the hospital are adult pneumology, plastic surgery, outpatient dermatology, physiotherapy, radiology, dental care, and surgical treatment of benign and malignant diseases of the esophagus in adults. Sir John Golding Rehabilitation Hospital, formerly known as Mona Rehabilitation Center, is a facility which started in 1954 during the polio epidemic. Back then, the center catered for the rehabilitation of patients affected with polio. Nowadays, the hospital caters to patients with congenital illnesses, spinal cord injury, and severe rehabilitation needs. So who was Sir John Golding, the man who the hospital is named in honor of? John Simon Ralston Golding was born on April 5, 1921 in Britain. He arrived in Jamaica in 1953 to open the orthopedic department at the University Hospital and to study the natural history of the conditions affecting orthopedic patients in the Caribbean. The following year, 1954, he established the Mona Rehabilitation Center after the outbreak of polio in the country, and he remained the medical officer for life in charge of that center. Sir John Golding fell in love with the island of Jamaica and spent the rest of his life here. His contributions are many. Much of his work was concerned with the welfare and rehabilitation of the disabled, particularly those affected by polio. For disabled children who were unable to attend school, he opened the Hope Valley Experimental School, which was the first and only school in the Caribbean to integrate disabled and normally able children. Other initiatives of his included a company to employ the disabled, a prosthetics and orthotics center, a physiotherapy school, and a hospice care. In 1966, he started the Polio Games, which later led to the establishment of the Special Olympics. In 1980, he received the Order of Jamaica for his services to orthopedics. He was a founder, Justice of the Peace, medical officer, chairman of different organizations, and member of different boards. Professor Sir John Golding died of a heart attack on March 23, 1996. He once said the following: "The greatest of all mistakes is to do nothing because we can do so little." Government Hospital in Spanish Town dates back hundreds of years since the city was established in 1534 by the Spaniards. But the present hospital was completed in 1952 through what was called the Hospital Building Program under West Indian Welfare and Development Scheme. The new Spanish Town Hospital was the first to be built under that program. The hospital opening ceremony in 1952 was led by Sir Hugh Foote, Governor of Jamaica at the time. The hospital opened with 200 beds. Since 1952, the hospital has expanded with additional bed and healthcare services. The services of the Spanish Town Hospital include pediatrics, orthopedics, urology, obstetrics and gynecology, lab services, general surgery, and more. Spanish Town Hospital is a Type B hospital. It is the largest Type B hospital in Jamaica. This hospital first exists as a treatment center for tuberculosis conditions. In 1953, the center officially became a hospital. To give the location full hospital status in terms of functionality, the Accident and Emergency Unit was constructed. In following years, additional buildings were added, such as a staff residence. Nowadays, the list of services offered at the hospital are accident and emergency care, physiotherapy, medical care, lab services and X-ray, mental health, and a pharmacy. Open 24 hours to the public, Linstead Hospital is a Type C hospital. On October 17, 1951, Hurricane Charlie destroyed the Morant Bay Hospital. A new hospital was constructed and was officially opened on February 23, 1955. 24-year-old Princess Margaret, second daughter of King George VI and only sister to Queen Elizabeth II, named and opened the new hospital. She gave the new hospital her own name, calling it the Princess Margaret Hospital. Princess Margaret Hospital is the only hospital in the parish of St. Thomas. The list of services it provides are general medicine, gastroenterology, general surgery, obstetrics and gynecology, pediatrics, accident and emergency, and physiotherapy. Princess Margaret Hospital is a Type C hospital. St. Joseph Hospital was established in 1916 by the Sisters of St. Dominic of Blauvelt from New York, USA. The hospital was named in honor of St. Joseph. St. Joseph is Joseph from the Bible, who was the husband of Mary, the mother of Jesus. The Dominican sisters operated the St. Joseph Hospital from 1916 to 1970. In 1970, the ownership and management of the hospital was transferred to the Roman Catholic Archdiocese of Kingston. The transfer of ownership and management of the hospital was done due to shortage of trained nursing sisters and the burdening cost of operation. After the transfer, plans began for the expansion of the hospital by adding a new wing to provide additional beds, new operating theatre, intensive care unit, and administrative block. The expansion work was completed in 1975 using donations. An entire page of the Daily Gleaner of Wednesday, September 24, 1975 was filled with congratulatory messages from important figures such as Prime Minister Michael Manley, Governor General Florenzel Glaspole, Edward Seaga, and Sister Karen Mary, who at the time was Superior General at the Convent of St. Dominic in New York. In her own congratulation message to the Archdiocese of Kingston, she concluded with the following words: "All who serve at St. Joseph's Hospital in any capacity whatsoever are doing their part to build up and strengthen the body of Christ in Jamaica. May you continue to care for the patients at St. Joseph's with the same affection which God lavishes on mankind." The Roman Catholic Archdiocese of Kingston owned and managed the hospital for 38 years, starting in 1970. In the early 2000s, the government of Jamaica saw the potential of the hospital and went into negotiation to acquire it in order to change it to a free-to-use public hospital. In 2008, the government made the first payment of $47 million for the purchase of the hospital. The purchase was later completed that year, and it is the plan of the government, through the Ministry of Health, to restructure the hospital as a center of excellence in oncology and nephrology, and for it to operate as an extension of the Kingston Public Hospital. The history of healthcare in Falmouth goes back over 215 years. In the early 1800s, while Jamaica was still a colony of Britain, the British regiments stationed on the island were relocated from Maroon Town to Falmouth. To provide health care for the many soldiers, the construction of a marine hospital by the seacoast began in 1805 and was scheduled for completion in 1806. The hospital was neatly constructed entirely of wood with a capacity of 25 beds. It had an operating theatre and all the necessary wards. Health care was always a priority in Falmouth, and the Marine Hospital served the needs of the community for almost 150 years. Though built entirely of wood, it survived many hurricanes. Eventually, its physical conditions deteriorated. A new hospital was obviously necessary. In late 1953, steps were taken to build a modern hospital west of the old Marine Hospital. By late 1954, the new hospital was completed. Called Falmouth Hospital, it was officially opened on February 15, 1955. Over the years, health care at this hospital has expanded with services ranging from general surgery, urology, orthopedics, gynecology, accident and emergency, lab investigations, to a pharmacy, 2 medical wards, 2 surgical wards, 1 maternity ward, and a pediatric ward. Falmouth Hospital is a Type C hospital. Welcome to Buff Bay, a small and quiet town in the parish of Portland. Here you will find the Buff Bay Community Hospital. The plan and construction of this hospital began in the year 1911. The hospital was first called Buff Bay Hospital. 74 years later, in 1985, it was downgraded to a community hospital under a government rationalization program. After serving Buff Bay for over half of a century, the Buff Bay Community Hospital was experiencing serious difficulties in the delivery of expected services and the deterioration of buildings on the property. But in recent years, the hospital had received significant improvement from both private sector and government. Sav-la-Mar Public General Hospital was opened on July 24, 1964 on Barracks Road in Sav-la-Mar, Westmoreland, after a previous healthcare facility at the location was destroyed by fire in 1958. The opening ceremony was led by the late Dr. Herbert Aldemeyer, who was then only 33 years old. Over the many years since it was opened, Sav-la-Mar Public General Hospital has received significant upgrading. The hospital has been transformed into a modern secondary healthcare facility and is a Type B hospital, the only Type B hospital in Western Jamaica. The hospital provides a comprehensive range of services which include 24 hours casualty, accident and emergency, orthopedics, pediatrics, dermatology, X-ray, physiotherapy, gynecology, and surgical procedures. What started out as just a small structure providing medical care to plantation workers and their families over 150 years ago soon turned into a sort of clinic for community members in Lionel Town. The buildings were soon called the Lionel Town Hospital. By the 1920s, the buildings, which were not made of concrete, were getting very old. Conditions at the hospital for both patients and medical care professionals were not ideal either. On Saturday, August 15 of 1953, a new wing was formally opened by the Honorable Rose Leon, Minister of Health at the time. The new wing included 2 male wards. This was made possible through the efforts of, among other persons, Alexander Bustamante, the politician whose name would be given to the very road that the hospital is on. In subsequent years, the hospital continued to be plagued by various problems such as lack of needed equipments and insufficient beds. However, in recent years, the hospital received significant contribution and infrastructure improvements. In 2022, a wall fence was completed around the hospital, providing better security and keeping out wild animals. Lionel Town Hospital is a Type C hospital which only handles minor surgical cases and offers the following services: wound care, diagnostic care, inpatient and outpatient services, pediatric services, emergency and critical care, and outpatient mental health clinic. Just over 250 years ago, the British could not have foreseen that a wide grassy land they settled on and used as cattle pens would turn into a bustling town and the capital of a parish. It was Reverend William May who owned a huge portion of the area back in the first half of the 1700s. His cattle pens were so popular that both the slaves and white settlers there called it Mr. May's Pen or May's Pen. Even after William May died in 1753, the name stuck on the area, and today we simply call it May Pen. May Pen Hospital was officially opened on December 12, 1974, in a ceremony led by the then Prime Minister of Jamaica, Michael Manley. The hospital opened with a capacity of 50 beds, 18 nurses, a matron, a junior doctor, and 1 consultant in general surgery. The hospital came as a long-awaited amenity to the fast-growing town. Several considerations to build a hospital in May Pen were already considered from colonial years by Alexander Bustamante and other politicians, but it was not until the 1970s that it was materialized. In 1976, 2 years after the hospital had opened, the bed capacity increased to 76 with the addition of both pediatrics and maternity wards. Over the next decade, though, the hospital was considered inadequate to effectively handle the growing population in and around May Pen and the huge amount of patients. So, in the 1990s, a new structure was built and opened in November of 1997 as a Type C hospital. Nowadays, the hospital is a Type B hospital. The Percy Junior Hospital is located on Main Street, Spalding, in the parish of Manchester. The hospital was made possible through the kind contributions of a businessman named Percival Sigismund Jr. He was also a justice of the peace, financier, planter, and philanthropist. Percival Jr. was born on December 29, 1880, at Walderson in the parish of Manchester. His parents were Anne E. Tibby and John Jr. Percival Jr. grew up poor, and after getting rich as an adult, he chose to give back to the town of Spaldings mainly by seeing to the setup of a hospital. In 1943, he approached the government of Jamaica with a proposal to finance the building of a hospital in Spaldings, but only under two conditions. The first condition was that the hospital must be named in his honor by being called Percy Junior Hospital. The second condition was that the hospital must be permanently a public hospital. The government agreed to his proposal and the conditions. So, Mr. Percival Jr. donated 20 acres of land to Spaldings, 30,000 in cash, along with equipment valued at 20,000 for the hospital. Construction of the hospital began the same year, 1943, and the building was completed in the first half of 1945, then opened to the public the same year. Mr. Percival Jr. died from coronary heart disease on February 29, 1972, at age 91. In 1946, an operating theater, private block, a lab, and X-ray departments were opened. Just within 12 months later, nurses and doctors' residencies were constructed. In 1970, a pediatric ward was established, allowing the relocation of children from the female medical ward. Generous donations and contributions kept coming in as the hospital serves Spaldings and surrounding areas. In 1989, additional operating and recovery rooms were constructed through donations from a group called Friends of the Hospitals. Percy Junior Hospital is a Type C hospital and offers the following services: X-ray, medical and surgical clinics, operating theater, a pharmacy, social work, 24/7 accident and emergency room, medical, surgical, maternity, and pediatric wards. Chapelton Community Hospital was established around the early 1900s in the market town of Chapelton in Clarendon. As a community hospital, it fell short of services and opening hours when compared to a Type C hospital. It was opened Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. and closed on weekends and public holidays. Also, the structure of the facility was showing signs of deterioration. In the year 2019, a construction project began at the hospital using a donation of US $1 million from a Jamaican living in the United States of America. This same project also received $112 million from the Chase Fund and the National Health Fund. Operated by the government, the project has two phases. Phase 1 includes the expansion of the waiting area, construction of a new operating theater and lab, improvement to the water storage facility, and the building of a second ward, which increased bed capacity from 15 to 30. The second phase of the project involves the completion of the renovation and expansion to include new ceiling, walls, flooring, 4 additional offices for doctors, improved bathrooms for both patients and staff, completion of the new 22-bed ward, and more. The completion of the two-phase project will see a significant increase of services at the Chapelton Hospital and see the hospital opening 24 hours, 7 days a week. Noel Holmes Hospital is a Type C hospital located on Fort Charlotte Drive in the capital town of Lucy, Hanover. The parish of Hanover was founded in November 1723 with the then agricultural town of Lucy declared the capital. The British, who fully captured Jamaica from the Spaniards in 1655, began development plans for the town of Lucy. New residential buildings, a fort, a hospital, and other amenities began popping up in and around Lucy. The hospital was first called Hospital Lucy, as seen in early writings, but later called Lucy Hospital. It operated under this name through generations until 1968, when the name was changed to Noel Holmes Hospital. So why was the Lucy Hospital changed to Noel Holmes Hospital? The name of the hospital was changed to honor the memory of a hard-working and well-loved doctor called Noel Holmes. Noel Norman Holmes was born on June 16, 1904 in Falmouth, Trelawney. He did his medical studies overseas. On his return to Jamaica, he joined the government medical services in 1938 and worked as a medical doctor in the parish of his birth, Trelawney, until 1947 when he was transferred to Lucy. For 17 years and some months, Dr. Noel Holmes worked at the Lucy Hospital, starting out as a medical officer and later promoted to senior medical officer. During those years, he was well known and loved by people in and around Lucy. A justice of the peace since 1945, he was a friendly man to turn to for recommendations and the signing of documents. Dr. Noel Holmes retired from the Lucy Hospital in 1965. He died from colon cancer on Sunday, November 12, 1967, in the town of Reading, St. James. His funeral was held on Thursday, November 16, 1967, at the Hanover Parish Church in Lucy, where he was buried. Within months after his death, petitions were made by some people of Hanover to the Minister of Health, Dr. Herbert Eldermeyer, and the board of the Lucy Hospital to have the hospital renamed in commemoration of the well-beloved doctor. So, the hospital was officially renamed Noel Holmes Hospital. In 1970, a bust made of bronze was erected at the hospital in the late doctor's memory. The bust was made by Mr. Alvin Marriott at a cost of some $1,400. The Noel Holmes Hospital is the only hospital in Hanover. Through the many years of its existence, the hospital experienced challenges such as lack of equipment and shortage of beds, but managed to keep up. In 2017, the hospital received, among other things, a new maternity ward, a new general ward, new offices, and a refurbished sewage treatment plant. In the year 2022, at the making of this video, the Mandeville Regional Hospital is 145 years old. The hospital was opened in 1877 at a location which was once a British barracks. When it was opened, it was called Mandeville Public Hospital and held this name until the year 2000, when it was renamed Mandeville Regional Hospital. A hospital which started out small went through significant redevelopment and refurbishing to become the remarkable structure we see today. Mandeville Regional Hospital is a Type B hospital, providing all the expected services of a Type B hospital, such as intensive care unit, diagnostic services, dermatology, psychiatry, accident and emergency care, inpatient and outpatient care, a lab, medical and surgical wards, maternity ward, and an operating theatre. Port Antonio Hospital is a Type C hospital in the parish of Portland. Originally built on the Titchfield Peninsula, it was relocated to the current site in the Nailers Hill community and officially opened on Monday, May 3, 1943, with 120 beds. The official opening was led by the then Governor of Jamaica, Sir Arthur Frederick Richards. Among the attendees at the official opening was the then Member of Parliament for Portland, Harold Egbert Allin, who gave a long speech. Since the 1940s, the hospital had gotten further improvement. Today, Port Antonio Hospital offers services in pediatric, outpatient clinics, medicine, accident and emergency care, a lab, X-ray, obstetrics, and gynecology. Annotto Bay Public General Hospital is located in the town of Annotto Bay, St. Mary. It is a Type C facility which provides services in general surgery, psychiatry, pediatrics, obstetrics and gynecology, accident and emergency, radiology, a lab, and a pharmacy. In 1867, Dr. John Pringle founded the Annotto Bay Hospital mainly to take care of his farm laborers on his property there. 83 years later, in 1950, a newer hospital building was opened. Since then, the hospital has gone through many improvements to serve the growing population in and around Annotto Bay. So who was Dr. John Pringle who founded the Annotto Bay Hospital? John Pringle was born on July 25, 1848 at the Sutherland Shore, in Scotland. Throughout his long life, he held many important job positions, among them medical doctor, investor, businessman, privy councillor, and chairman. When he came to Jamaica, he fell in love with the island and stayed here the rest of his life. He died from bronchopneumonia on Thursday, March 15, 1923, at his home, the Manor House, in Lower St. Andrew. At the time of his death, he was 74 years old. He was buried beside his late wife, Amy Pringle, in the churchyard of the Annotto Bay Anglican Church. Alexandria Hospital was formally opened on Friday, January 24, 1941, in the town of Alexandria in St. Anne. 45 years later, in 1986, It was downgraded to a community hospital in the Ministry of Health's rationalization program. Alexandria Community Hospital over the years had received donations and improvement works, but nothing of such to make it upgraded from a community hospital. In the year 2022, the Jamaica Bauxite Institute, JBI, is the latest to give significant support to the hospital. The JBI had pledged to spend $5 million on upgrading the water catchment facility at this community hospital. The town of Port Maria has had a hospital for over 200 years. The town was established by the Spanish settlers who called it Puerto Santa Maria. After the year 1655, when the British soldiers captured the island from Spain, the name of the town was changed to Port Maria. The British continued improvement of the town since the taking over of the island. Among other structures, they built Fort Haldane in 1759, the courthouse in 1820, and the now Port Maria Parish Church in 1861. The British also built the Port Maria Hospital, which had gone through relocation and restructuring. Today, the Port Maria Hospital is a Type C hospital located on the outskirts of Port Maria, close to the Ian Fleming International Airport. Services provided by the hospital include minor operations, general medicine, maternal delivery and care, pediatric clinic, lab services, and X-ray. St. Ann's Bay Regional Hospital is a Type B hospital in St. Ann. As a Type B hospital, it takes serious cases from Type C hospitals and health clinics in Portland, St. Ann, and St. Mary. St. Ann's Bay Regional Hospital consists of modern buildings with state-of-the-art equipment, neonatal intensive care unit, and operating theaters. Serving a population of over 500,000 persons, St. Ann's Bay Regional Hospital is also a 308-bed accredited training facility for interns. Services offered by this hospital include radiology, emergency medicine, surgery, pediatrics, obstetrics and gynecology, physiotherapy, dietary, orthopedics, laboratory services, and more. St. Ann's Bay Regional Hospital was first located on Harbour Street in St. Ann's Bay. Due to the inadequacy of the location, A new location was established on Civil Road in the town on 20 acres of land given by the late H.S. Hopkins. The new hospital was constructed in 1929. The last hospital on the list is the Black River Hospital in the parish of St. Elizabeth. The town of Black River has a fascinating history. Part of such history is the site where the hospital is today. In the 1700s, the site was used for the selling of black slaves who were shipped in the island. In the early 1800s, the Royal British Army built barracks there for soldiers. The soldiers were housed there until the mid-1800s. In 1856, the site became the first location for Monroe College until it was relocated the following year. Soon the old barracks became the Black River Hospital. A portion of the seaside was dumped up to create additional land space. A morgue, casualty department, and a staff residence were added for better operation of the hospital. The male and female wards are housed in the old British barracks. The hospital has 150 beds and is a Type C hospital. It is the only hospital in the parish of St. Elizabeth. Services offered by the Black River Hospital include the following: general surgery, pediatrics, psychiatry, accident and emergency, outpatient clinics, and gynecology.